You know it, you love it. It's cheese. In our culture, it comes in just about every shape and size, and we use it for almost everything, from an artfully arranged board at a wine tasting to a perfectly melted layer on a pizza. But what do we really know about it? Where did it come from? And more importantly, why do we call one of our most beloved foods what is essentially spoiled milk? If you think the answer is simple, you're not totally wrong, but also not totally right. Because cheese is a curious concoction that blends ancient survival, monastic devotion, and a complete flavor revolution into the diverse and delicious thing we know today. So get ready, because we're about to uncover the strange, funky, and storied journey of cheese. Before we go all the way back, let's look at what we have now. At its core, modern cheese is a preserved food derived from milk. Its taste can be anything from mild and creamy to sharp, funky, and profoundly complex. It's a fixture in our homes and a staple of global cuisine. But the cheese of today, whether it's a Kraft single or a raw milk artisanal cheddar, is a world away from where it started. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to its accidental roots. Cheese actually has ancient, survivalist roots. Before it became a culinary art, it was an accident, a mistake, a discovery born of necessity. The story begins with Neolithic farmers around 8000 BC. The prevailing theory is that our ancestors stored milk in pouches made from the stomachs of ruminant animals like sheep or goats. These stomach linings contained a natural enzyme called rennet. The rennet caused the milk to curdle and separate into solid, protein-rich curds and liquid whey. This wasn't about creating a tasty snack, it was a crucial discovery for survival. It transformed perishable milk into a transportable, long-lasting, and digestible source of calories and nutrients. Early cheese was a simple, salty, fresh curd, a food of pure function. This brings us to the part that throws people off. Why would anyone eat what seems like spoiled milk? Well, that's the genius of it. What looks like spoilage is actually preservation. The process of curdling, triggered by rennet, separates the milk solids from the whey, which is where most of the rapidly spoiling lactose resides. Salting these curds further dehydrates them and kills off harmful bacteria, making them safe to eat for weeks or months. So while we might jokingly call it spoiled milk, it wasn't spoiled at all. It was transformed. The name might sound off-putting, but the process was the key. It was a revolutionary way to capture milk's goodness long after it would have normally gone bad. Cheese, as we know it, owes a lot to two key groups, the Romans and the monks. When the Roman Empire rose, they were the first to elevate cheesemaking to a large-scale art and science. They developed various techniques for aging, smoking, and pressing cheese. It became a vital, calorie-dense ration for their legions. And they established dedicated cheese kitchens in their cities, spreading the craft across Europe. After the fall of Rome, this knowledge was preserved and perfected within the quiet walls of monasteries. Monks, with their dedication, literacy, and long-term view, became the master cheesemakers of the medieval world. They meticulously experimented with local milks and environments, creating legendary varieties that are still famous today, like Roquefort in France, Parmesan in Italy, and Munster in the Alsace region. But as cheese went from a local craft to a global food, something fundamental changed. This happened in the 19th century. One of the most defining qualities of early cheese came from its unique local bacteria and raw milk. First, the factory system, pioneered in the US by Jesse Williams in 1851, moved cheesemaking from the farm to industrial production. Second, Louis Pasteur's invention of pasteurization allowed for a consistent, safe, and stable product by killing most of the bacteria, both good and bad, in the milk. This made mass production possible and cheese safer for the general public, but some fans argue that it lost a little of its character and soul in the process. This shift eliminated many of the complex, terroir-driven flavors that defined traditional raw milk cheeses, paving the way for industrial uniformity. Interestingly, our most iconic version of industrial cheese is a distinctly North American phenomenon. Entrepreneurs and large corporations capitalized on these new technologies. This is the story of companies like Kraft, which perfected processed cheese in the early 20th century. By melting down cheese scraps and adding emulsifiers, they created products like Velveeta and Kraft Singles, incredibly shelf-stable, perfectly uniform, and ideal for a new, fast-paced American lifestyle. Cheese became an industrial commodity. But just as industrial versions took over, a counter-movement began. In the late 20th century, a resurgence of small-batch farmstead cheesemakers began. They sought to bring back the authentic, old-timey flavor, focusing on terroir, the idea that a cheese's flavor is a unique expression of the local land, animals, and climate. Just like the bean-to-bar chocolate movement, this is a full-circle return to cheese as a complex, artisanal food, celebrating diversity over uniformity. So is cheese really spoiled milk? To put it simply, not anymore, and it never truly was. What began as an accidental method of preserving milk transformed into a Roman military staple, a work of monastic art, a uniform industrial product, and now a celebrated artisanal craft. The idea of spoiled milk is just a nod to its origins, a reminder of the ingenious process that turns something perishable into something timeless. So there you have it. The strange, funky, and storied journey of cheese. It's not quite what it started as, but it has thousands of years of tradition behind it, a process that still sparks curiosity, and a place on our plates that is more diverse and exciting than ever before. It reminds us that even the simplest things, a slice of cheese on a cracker, can have surprisingly deep roots. What do you think? What's your favorite type of cheese? And did you know its history ran this deep? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.